Good morning, Rocio. My name is Michael. I'll be your therapist today. And how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing okay. It's nice to meet
Okay,
you.
so I'm glad you're feeling good today. Now, can you um can you tell me why you want to have these meetings? Why you want to meet with a therapist?
Yes, so in the past years, I've experienced anxiety and I was able to get it under control. But then in the last few months, I have been feeling like it's rising. Just the level of anxiety has been not under control like I had it in the past. And so I've just been kind of struggling with that to get it under control again.
And you said that it began a few months ago. Now, do you remember something that occurred that would have triggered that? Would have
Just
triggered that?
right. So I think what may have kind of caused it, starting school again, just keeping up with not just starting school, but starting a master's program. I When I went to the bachelor's degree, I was doing okay, with 5 classes a semester. And so I thought 3 classes would be okay in the master's program, but it's actually double the work than taking 5 classes in a regular bachelor's degree. So that kind of getting into a consistent schedule for me maybe hasn't helped. Plus everything else going on in life. I'm married. I have 2 kids that are 10 and 11. So keeping up with their sports schedule plus school plus the things that I do at home and plus everything else that I need to do it is kind of dealing with all of that at once.
So I hear you saying that sometimes your time is pretty much demanded by others in your family, and it
Yes.
conflicts and it causes you to go to a higher level of anxiety. Now, I was going to ask you about on your intake form. You had mentioned all your location, and are you still at the same location where the address on your intake form?
Yes.
Okay. And I noticed that you had written down most of the things that you were wanting to get to the heart of, mainly from symptoms and results of your anxiety. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the on what has been happening as a result of the anxiety, like in your health, in your sleep? Can you elaborate on that? Or how that affects other areas of your life?
Right. So I think for one of the things, because in the past I was able to control and manage, not control it, but manage it better. I was exercising daily, and so that helped, with my sleeping pattern as well. And now with just this trying to get used to a new routine, and everything else going on as well. I haven't been exercising like I used to. I think like in the last, what are we on? This is March. 3 months. Maybe I've exercised 3 times, and so that's really awful for me because I don't feel like myself. So just and so like you said, it affects my sleep as well because uh, since I'm not exercising, then I'm also not drinking enough water. I'm not eating properly like I used to. I mean, I still take care of myself as what I eat, but it's not like when I'm a routine when I'm exercising, right? And so it affects those areas and just having to be on the go, 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 go.
So you're saying exercise is a key component in lessening anxiety for you?
For me, at least I've noticed that it has helped in the past.
Now, I was mentioning on the questionnaire, and also there's I need to clarify that you understand everything that was on the confidentiality form. I just want to clarify you had read it and understand it.
I do.
You do, okay. Now, moving forward on that, you had mentioned on some of your numbers on the questionnaire, the ones that seemed to be the highest were in reference to your siblings, in a sense of you had a very strong relationship with your
Yes,
siblings.
I do.
And then it was a major contrast on the other end, where you seem to have a poor relationship with your parents. Can you elaborate why one is stronger than the other, and one is strong, but one is not so strong?
Yes, I can elaborate on that. So in my situation, my parents divorced when I was, I believe, 4 years old. Due to that, my father hasn't been in my life, in our life since then. He lives in Guatemala. We're here. And then as a cause of that, my mother came to the US and we stayed in Guatemala, we meaning my siblings and I, with one of her sisters. And so we lived with them. And because of that, and other things that happened between my parents, I believe my mother never truly healed from a lot of things. And because of that, she never was able to establish a relationship with us. And since we didn't grow up with her, when I started to live with her, my siblings and I was already almost 11 years old. And she had already, by this time, remarried, had my youngest brother then. So it was like one family, her, my stepdad, and my youngest brother, and then myself and my two sisters and my brother were like another family. So that kind of always helped. That always kind of made me the protector of them. And so we were essentially one family here. So that kind of always, we took care of each other basically.
So you would say then your relationship with your parents was estranged?
Yes, I mean, and over the years, like we've tried to rebuild, or I've tried to build a relationship with my mom, but unfortunately, she does have some mental issues that she has denied. And we've tried to get her help and help her. We still help her financially, but as far as her health, she doesn't want to get help. So for our peace and our just being, at least for me, having that distance, but still kind of helping her, but not 100% always there, also helps me to be okay with myself.
In your family structure, would you say that your relationship with your siblings is one more of a mentorship, like a replacement of your parents? Or
No. We're good as far as, because we're very close in age. We're all a year apart. So we're siblings are also friends with each other. And like I said, it's not just me taking care of them, we take care of each other.
And so would you attribute any of your earlier years to the anxiety you're feeling now? Or is that just something that just happened? Or is there something that is still stirring in you?
Not necessarily, I think, because I've kind of dealt with that and
Yeah, with that.
right. And being Christian also helps, and having to be able to forgive and ask God and the Holy Spirit to heal me. But at the same time, I do feel that when my mother, meaning my mother, is around, I do feel more anxious, because it's always, she's doing things that someone in a well set of, like in a state of mind that is well wouldn't do. So I'm always constantly worried, what is she gonna do, or what is she gonna get herself into? Like, to give you a quick example, we recently had to bail her out of jail. So that was a very hectic, and draining, because you would think it would be the other way around, right? Like, she's the parent, but it's never been that way. Like, we've always had to take care of her. So just I do feel, and she was, and now that you mentioned that, that is when my anxiousness increased, because she'd been around us the last 3 months, 3 or 4 months, because she doesn't stay in one place often. She just, once she's okay, then she disappears again. When she needs help, she appears again. And so now that you mentioned that, I can say that maybe when she's around, I do feel more anxious, just because I'm kind of worried of what else she's going to get into.
Now, going forward, the anxiety that you're feeling, it sounds to me like you're recognizing what is bringing the anxiety. Going forward, what is it that you want to eliminate and add to your life to release or relieve that anxiety? Do you have any idea what it is that you want to do?
Right. So like I was saying, I think the main goal here would be to be able to find realistic goals that will help me manage the anxiety I'm feeling, with school and everything else that I'm dealing with right now, and then just not be anxious all the time.
And now these feelings that you've had, you said they've pretty much climaxed. When did they start really kind of coming to a head where you noticed that you needed some help with these matters? It's been how many months?
Maybe a few months now, maybe 5, 6 months.
And okay.
Well, I would say, whatever, well, since I started the program, so maybe 6 months, just having to get used to meeting deadlines
and in your general household with your children and your spouse, has it affected them in any negative way?
No, no, thankfully no, because we, like I said, they're constantly, we're busy with school and their events with they both play softball, so we have two different schedules for them, and just staying active with them, so that helps.
Well, I'm gonna bring forth a little. It's called a miracle question. Now, let's just say if you were to go to sleep tonight, and when you woke up tomorrow, everything that was wrong in those feelings and areas of anxiety were gone, but you didn't know the miracle occurred during the night. At what point during your morning throughout the day would you start recognizing that there's been a change? Where would you see that miracle appear, and throughout what parts of the day do you think they would appear? Just now, you have to remember what the miracle is. It's happened.
Right.
All that anxiety is gone, but when would you start to recognize it?
Okay. Yes. I think for me would be that I'm not worried in a sense of I have to do this and I have to do that. I have, obviously there's always going to be a schedule, right? I understand that, but I think I maximize it to the point where I feel like it's all right here on my shoulders and I need to do it now. And so to answer that question, if I woke up tomorrow and I wasn't anxious anymore, I think I would be calm and not worried.
Well, it sounds to me like you have a very positive outlook towards the healing process in this journey of, but things you do recognize that you have stress and you want to eliminate it. And I would say that some of the goals that we may need to work on would be improving throughout the week before our next session, your self-awareness on circumstances that bring you into that feeling of anxiety. And I think if you could start noticing, that would help in that area to either divert or start to eliminate to where you have a lesser degree of that anxiety in that circumstance. And the other one would be just whatever number that you wrote down on your questionnaires. And I'm sure throughout the day, there's always certain people that give you higher levels of anxiety than others. If we can come up with a goal, at least you need to do that during the week, let's try to lessen what that person can actually, or that situation can bring upon me in that level of anxiety. If it was a 10, let's try to get it down to a 5. Let's make a goal to cut it in half. And if we can do that, I think the whole perception, I think it'll bring you into a better place. And this will be like your homework throughout the week before I see you the next time. And to summarize, I would say that because of your faith and your understanding of the anxiety that you have, I believe you're going to be able to walk this through and get to a point where you're going to have, just like that miracle question, one day it just won't be there. But it is a process. I believe you have to walk it out. And I'm looking forward to meeting with you next week. And do you have any other questions or anything that you'd like to add?
No, I thank you for your time, and I am looking forward to being, listening to you and learning from you as well.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and thank you, and you have a good, blessed week.
Thank you. You too.